Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the show. My microphone is way over there. Let's do that again. Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the show. Now that I have the microphone back in front of me. It's been a morning. I forgot to make the show public, which is why there aren't that many of you here yet. But people will trickle in. We got giveaways. People love giveaways. Don't you all love giveaways? Once we get some people in, we will take care of that. I do have a whole bunch of stuff to share with you for Prime Day, but there is something that I'm looking for. This is the stuff that shows up in my feed. You can tell I'm a ham radio operator. There's a safety vest there. There's a battery charger, a couple of batteries. I am looking for a cheap Android tablet. So if you guys have any suggestions, that would be amazing. What I am looking for, and we'll probably do this later on in the show when we get through some of the deals or to break up some of the monotony. What I want to do is I want to get a tablet that's under $100. It has to be Android. It has to be 10 inches. It should run Android 15. And other than that, it's got to be like somewhat responsive. I'm going to put ham radio apps on it. I'm going to do a video series on Android ham radio apps. So it has to do screen recording, and I don't know. Like I use Samsung Galaxy phones, and I don't know if it's normal to have screen recording on every Android or if it's a Samsung edition, because Samsung changes stuff up. They add a bunch of stuff to the Android experience to make it better, but you also pay a lot more for it. There was one up top. I've got the S24, and I could have sworn there was an S25 deal today on Prime. Let's do Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. Yeah, there's the deal. $1,054. And because I'm such a nice guy, I'll get you guys a link for this one as well. But here's the Samsung Galaxy phone. It's kinda ridiculous, the price tag on phones. However, think about all the things that your phone does. Like this phone has a stylus. It's got 5 different cameras on the back. It's got an IR sensor of some kind. It runs apps, it watches movies and everything, and that's $1,000. And your ham radio only usually has one transmitter in it. This one's got like seven. It usually only has one receiver in it. This one's got like seven or eight, because I think it also has an FM radio receiver as well. So, like get with the program, boys. This one's got an open programming interface and you can load apps on it. Would be nice to do that. So yeah, it's an AI smartphone. I'm not really sure. Like it just automatically knows that my wife wants to nag me about something and has her call me. Is that what the AI does? Yeah, crazy stuff. Yeah, I'm not recommending buying this unless you have like a desperate need for it, and I do have kind of a need for it. Also, I take really good care of my phones and they last a long time. So my last one was a 21 Galaxy S21, and it's still in service today. So they last if you take care of them. They're they're fun to play with too. There's a lot of Android apps on it. Let's see. I have a whole folder of ham radio apps that I haven't used yet. Let's remove this. So you can see this is the ham radio apps, and I apologize for the reflection. There we go. And what is that? That's 3 by 4. So there's 12 apps there, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages of 12 apps of ham radio apps on Android. And I'd like to share them all with you. I just would like to do it from a tablet so I can, see what I'm doing. To text when you're in the doghouse before you talk to your wife. It just says, it's time to call your wife and apologize. What did I do? You know what you did. Yeah. I need to go through, Frank and I need to sit down with Nightbot and figure out what all the problem is with Nightbot. There's way too much stuff to confuse stuff. I agree, Aiden. I would love to have a whole bunch of unlocked stuff, but unlocked I'm running a locked MacBook Pro in front of me that I'm streaming from. I have a locked Windows 11 PC behind me. I do have Linux on that, but it's running Windows 11 because I need to do ham radio programming software. I have a locked phone. I have yeah. This is the way the world is now. This is the current state of evolution. This is our best. This is the best we can do. So in the description of this video, there are a ton of links if you want to get ahead of the game and start checking out those deals and seeing which ones you want before they all run out. I'm going to be doing a live stream with Retevis later tonight. We're going to talk about some of their deals, and they're doing some giveaways on their live stream. So check out the Retevis channel for that. Um, and there are some giveaways. Let me bring up my version of the video, because one of the giveaway things is you got to put a thing in the description. So let me make sure I get my notes right. I guess I could just look at my notes instead of looking in the video description. So that's for the Wattcycle battery. You have to subscribe to this channel, which most of you already are. Thank you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. You have to subscribe to Wattcycle's channel. I need more screens. I'm dropping a link in the chat for you guys for that. I don't know how they're going to cross-reference all of this stuff, but if you subscribe to my channel and you subscribe to their channel, and then you have to leave a comment, and they want you, on this video right here, they want you to share your plan for using the 12-volt 100 amp hour battery if you win it, and then submit suggestions and feedback for Wattcycle. And Wattcycle is an interesting battery company. They're the ones that got in trouble with Will Prowse over at DIY Solar. Will's got an awesome channel if you haven't seen him. He actually took one apart, and it was labeled as a 300 amp hour battery because it did in fact test like 30, I want to say 307, 309 or something, but I'd have to go back and watch my video on it. So it technically met the mark, but that's because it had 280 amp hour cells in it, and the cells were they always come with a little extra in them in the beginning, and then that's to account for the life cycle. They give you 5,000 cycles at 300 amp hours as their warranty, or whatever the actual number is. And they do that by, the first 1,000 or so cycles are at 310 amp hours, and then after that it's at 305, and then after that it's at 302, and then it's at 301 and a half, and then finally after 5,000 cycles it's down to 300 amp hours, and it makes the cut. In the case of the Wattcycle, it probably got down to 280. But here's the cool part about companies like that. They saw that there was a problem. They took ownership of the problem. They gave everybody a $50 rebate that bought the battery. They renamed the battery from a 300 to a 280, and then they made a 300 and started selling that as well. So I'm pretty cool with them. And they have, I'm running 2 of them on the tongue of the RV right now. So I'm kind of committed to it. So leave a comment with what you're going to do with the battery and any suggestions, because the point of that rant was that they actually listen. Any suggestions that you might have for them, any feedback that you have for them. And they wanted me to tell you that this is their biggest discount of the year, 50% off. And they're going to kind of take you away from Amazon Prime over to their website. Shame on them. But, everybody's getting in on the fun, which is pretty cool. 50% off. And then if you click on the link, they're supposed to do an extra 6% off. So I'm putting a new link in the chat for you if I can type while I do all this. Multitasking is an amazing talent that I just don't have. So Lee's asking, leave a comment here or in their video. Yes, both of those. But leave it here is fine. That's the way I interpreted the way that they read it. Leave it here. I have no idea how they're going to track. I think they're just going to go to one of those random comment pickers and just pick a random comment from this particular video. There's no way they can cross-reference whether you're subscribed here or subscribed there. That's too much effort. But 50% off, and then there's supposed to be an additional 6% off on top of that if you use my link with that little REF equals code at the back of it. That's how they track that the sale came from me, and y'all heard it here first and all that kind of jazz. So that's the Wattcycle giveaway. That's the most involved one. The other giveaways will do pretty much the same way. Let's see. I think we should start looking at some of the Retevis links. Let's copy this one. And unfortunately, I have a big, long laundry list of links. And I don't even know what they all are as I'm clicking through. So let's get this page shared back out again. Let's tab over and paste in the new link. And this one is the HD1 from Ilunce Retevis. This one is 38% off, $111.99. And all of these links are in the description down below for you. So this one here, I've worked with this one here a little bit. This one was you know, they're all pretty interesting. This was a DMR radio, and I believe it was waterproof. It was a very rugged setup. Yeah, it is waterproof. Water resistance level, waterproof. That's encouraging. But there are a lot of deals, so we're not going to focus too much time on every single individual one. Let's go to the next one. I think this is the same radio, but with GPS. Let's see what the price difference is. Yeah, this is the same one, but with GPS. So this one's $119.99. Did that look like, yeah, what is that, $8 more? $8 more for the GPS version? You might as well get the GPS version. And I'm not really sure what GPS would get you in these, because they do have a DPRS, digital APRS over DMR, but I'm not sure if they have regular APRS. So maybe you can share, yeah, okay, there it is. It does have GPS APRS, so you can beacon out your location. Push location messages to the APRS network in real time, capable of receiving and sending location information suitable for tracking outdoor activities, especially in emergencies. So that is that one. Let's see, what's next? This is going to be their HD2. The one we're looking at right now is the HD1. Let's see what the HD2 looks like, if it's any different. A little bit different. This one comes with a Bluetooth headset, USB charging cradle, and they have a GPS and non-GPS. This one's only 6%, and it doesn't show up as being a Prime Day deal. So I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to tell y'all, but $150 for this one. It's supposed to be a little bit better, so probably a little bit bigger of a battery, more contacts, 500,000 contacts. So it's $150 for that one, and then this one here is supposed to be the version with GPS. $154, so $4 more for the GPS for this one, and you still get the headset and everything. And then this one's also IP67 waterproof, Type-C charging, Moto Turbo compatibility, which is the fancy word for DMR. N2FET says he needs a DMR radio. There's going to be a lot in here, and we actually have some giveaways for that too. Let's do one of the giveaways. So we're going to give away an HA1 UV from Retevis. Let me get back over to that. And we're going to do HA1 UV as the keyword. And then I think I have to stop this share to share that. It'd be nice to share more than one thing at a time. Because I know StreamYard watches and hears all of our complaints all the time. So HA1UV is the keyword. We got Jeff in the chat who has dropped it in. Let me see if I can find the HA1UV and get that on the screen for you as well. There we go. So this is the HA1UV, and it is not DMR. It is only analog. So smaller battery than the last radio we showed, 2800, which is still pretty good considering it's not doing all the digital stuff. This one is a Prime Day deal, 5587. There is a link in the description for this radio as well. USB charging, which is a nice feature to have. It's got that lanyard. I know how much y'all love them lanyards. IP67 waterproof. And this is interesting because it is a, what do you call it? It is a analog radio, but it has that extra rotating knob on top. And this one actually gets you through the menus and through some features and through some channels. So it's actually pretty useful to have that extra button at the top. Let's check in on our giveaway. We got 35 people who have entered this one in. I am going to click that button, and I can't click the button on the StreamYard Studio. I have to come over here to this page and click. If you are a winner, there is a form in the description of the video that you need to fill out so I know how to get the information over to Retevis so they can ship it to you. Russ, AD0AA, congratulations to you, my friend. You are the winner. And you get to fill out that form and you get the HA1 UV. So make sure in the spot at the bottom of the form where it says what did you win, you put in either Jim's Flex or you put in HA1 UV. But if you put in Jim's Flex, he's not going to give it to you. So you probably should put in HA1 UV. Yeah, let's remove that one and let's get the other screen shared back again. Get rid of that. Ooh. Jim's Flex would work nicely. It would. Jim's been pretty happy with his Flex so far. All right, so we showed you the HD1, we showed you the HD2, we showed you the HA1 UV. This is the RA89. That up, and then while we're looking at that, I got to make a note that we already did give that one away. All right, so this is the RA89, and this is for hurricane rescue specifically. So don't use this unless you're actually in an active hurricane and need to be rescued, is what they're trying to tell you. 2500, so slightly smaller than the last battery. It's a slightly smaller radio physically. It does have USB charging. It's missing that extra knob on the top. And this one I think actually cost a little bit more. So the HA1 UV is probably a better deal than this one. And what's interesting, you guys can probably confirm this, but if you look at your Amazon, I bet your prices are a little tiny bit different than mine. This one shows up as $59.99 as a 20% off Prime Day deal. Let me know in the chat what yours looks like. And you can find the link in the description for this one. This is the RA89. And then they have the RA79. Is this one on Prime also? Come on. Yeah, this one's a Prime Day deal. This one is the Retevis branded version of the Quanshang radio, and it is 20% off at $23.99. So which one would be the better deal? This screen on this radio looks very familiar, like I've seen it on a bunch of other radios as well, with a bunch of other different branding on them as well. So who knows? But twice as much for the RA89 as there is for the RA79. I think the RA79 would be a more fun radio to play with. And then they even have a deal on a pair of these guys. Kelly, I agree with you. I am sick of storms. I have to take special precautions in storms. We had, when we were in Nebraska, we had a threat of 4-inch hail. I don't know if that's comprehensible, but 4-inch hail is kind of crazy. And some of you guys might not know this, but I live full time in an RV, and that ceiling above me is about yay thick, and it's a very thin piece of plywood on top, and then some insulation, not much, and then a very thinner piece of plywood underneath of that, just to make it look pretty. And I think 4-inch hail would go right through both of those layers and then hit me with still enough force to hurt me. So whenever we get any kind of call for storms like that, we're gone. Yeah, I'm sick of storms. Oh, interesting. Grouch wants to know where I am. I am in Colorado right now. I had some trouble with my truck and Colorado mountains, so I had to ditch the old truck and get a new truck as a result of that. And the new truck is doing good. It's still a lot of work towing over the mountains, though. Not fun at all. So this is the 2-pack of the RA79s, and I want to say it was $23.99, so it's $50.99. So it's not much of a deal. I think it's actually a little bit more expensive. $50.99 for the 2-pack with the microphone. There we go. Without the speaker mic is $43.99. And there's the deal, 20% off. Okay, so $43.99 is a better deal for two because you're paying less than you're buying two individually if you get the 2-pack itself. Let's see. This is the A1. This is actually an interesting radio where the radio is supposed to be able to send its location back and forth to other A1 users. And obviously it's got to be, it's not APRS, so it's not going to do it by uploading through a digipeater or an iGate to the internet. It's going to do it by just being, 2-meter line of sight, but you can keep tabs on where other people are in your area. if you have two of these radios. Both of you can send that proprietary message back and forth. And proprietary doesn't necessarily mean encrypted. It just means it's a protocol that isn't APRS, is what I was getting at with that. Yeah, there's a ton of Retevis stuff in here, John. But I like Retevis. They take care of me. I take care of them. And as you guys have seen, I've been doing a lot of repairs on this RT95 radio recently. And I say repairs. Wow, 107. This was 125 the other day. So 107 is a really good discount. That's almost $20 off. And again, the links are in the description for these guys. This radio, the reason why I like it, and I say this all the time because it's true, is this microphone here has a speaker in it, which means that there is audio in, out, and PTT on this RJ45 plug down here at the bottom. And so I've been playing with it, and that was the brainchild. That was the word I was looking for. The brainchild of the Toads DI board, which is on sale again at temporarilyoffline.com. And we just got a new shipment of those in, and we sold 14 of them last night. So get yours before the getting runs out. And we have the daughter boards coming in with the 6-pin connector. But next Sunday, we're going to do a live stream with Hayden where Hayden and I are going to wire this one up with the Toads DI board itself without any daughter boards on it. And I'm going to do some APRS stuff. So the wiring up is going to be interesting, and then figuring out the APRS stuff is going to be interesting. I've done it all before, but it's been a while. So yeah, this is a really good deal. This is a 25-watt radio, I believe. Let me see if I can find it on the screen. Come on. Best damn 25-watt radio I've tried. This thing rocks. That's Dan's opinion. I like it, though. I like it because it's fun and it's cheap. And I think, like we say with the G90, that 20 watts is the kind of the sweet spot. And this is 20 to 25, depending on how happy it is that day. But this is a fun radio. I just think it's like dollar per smile, like I guess you'd call it. It has a couple of neat extra features to it. Not a whole lot of features, but at $107, I mean it's $55 for a 5-watt HT, and it's $100 for a 20-watt, 25-watt. What's it called? 25-watt mobile radio. So let's check out this other one, because I don't think I've heard of this one, the RT3S. Oh, I have heard of the RT3S. Yeah, this is another small HT. It looks like this is the same interface that you get from OpenGD77, and I think this is compatible with OpenGD77. Let me take a look. OpenGD77.com. Share this tab instead. Make sure you guys can see it. You can. Good. All right. At the top of the page, you spend all kinds of time trying to figure out where do I go to figure out if this radio is compatible or not. But it's kind of like, oh, it's the little fine print that you missed at the top of the page. So that radio, the RT3S, is compatible with OpenGD77, which unlocks a whole bunch of features and is supposed to make it easier to use than a traditional DMR radio. But there it is. So you know that it's made by TYT, I think. And then it's got the Retevis branding on it. It says it in the title. Thank you. I can only read so many things at once. Your brain's like, let's go somewhere and get an answer. And then you go somewhere without, just looking right in front of you. But this UI, this screen interface that I see always tells me this is probably an OpenGD77 radio. So if you have a radio that has a front panel screen that looks like this, there's a good 90% chance that it's going to work with OpenGD77. And it works with mobile radios as well as HT style radios. 3,000 channels is interesting. It doesn't say about contacts. Let's see. 120,000 contacts. So you can kind of tell this is an older radio. The new DMR database is like 300,000 contacts or something. Well, it's probably closer to 400,000 by now. But if you buy a newer DMR radio, the newer ones come with 500,000 contacts built in. So these are pretty neat. What's the price tag on this one? 84. I'd say this is probably a little overpriced compared to some of the newer ones. But if OpenGD 77 is something you want to play with, we'll see if there's any other deals as we get through here. I think it's time for another giveaway. What do y'all think? This is going to be the HD1. HD1 is going to be the keyword. I'm giving it away because I got to do all the production. And I want you guys to get your entries in quick. So share this tab instead. HD1's the keyword. Drop this thing in. Handman CT, reach out to me. It doesn't take much. You just got to have some personality, and you got to look good. You know, I don't know if that rules you out or not, my friend. Because I don't know that I look good or have much personality, but people watch, so who knows? This is the HD1. We went over the HD1 earlier today. They have a GPS version. They have a non-GPS version. I don't know which one you're going to get when you win this, but look at Russ. Russ is double dipping. I hope you win again. That'd be funny. Geek, good to see you. Slow and ugly CW. That's the way you get fast and pretty, is by being slow and ugly. He says 1 out of 2, personality or good looks. So I'm guessing he looks good because he's a ham, and hams traditionally don't have personality, right? DMR is not ham radio. Sure it is. Why isn't it ham radio? It's like one of the most hammy things you can do. We took a business radio that was designed for business users on business frequencies, and we remade it into our own. We made it ham. Ah, that's why you think this is a common misconception. Internet voice over IP. No, DMR radios do not require the internet. That is a very common misconception. I believe it's my friend Digital Analog Ham 2E0UKH from the UK. Chris, he actually has a record of DMR simplex transmission, just radio to radio, no internet, no nothing, and he's got a distance record. So you can, but it's not internet only. All right, we have 56 entries, 88 people watching. I think it's draw time. Boom! Let's see, who's going to win it? Who's going to win it? Who's going to be the big winner? Charles Brown. Charles with the cowboy hat and the amazing beard. Congratulations, Charles. So there is a link in the description of the video to fill out to tell me how to get this radio into your hands. And we will get this radio into your hands. So make sure you fill out the form. That way I've got your contact info and I can get it out of the door. We make a mark that this has been... It did tease you, Bryant. I saw that. I was all ready to say congratulations, not Bryant. Maybe next time. All right, where did we leave off on the deals? We left off on the RT3S. And there's a GPS version of that as well. Let's take a look at that one real quick. $95. So it's $10 more for GPS on this one. Nice. So I still want to get some suggestions on the tablet, but the chat is scrolling by too fast. So if you did give me one that I don't remember, I don't have the ability to see what it was because it flashed by. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on when we get done with all these deals. This is the RA25. This is a radio made by Anytone. And I like this radio because it's a really cool form factor. It's a little tiny bit difficult to use until you get used to it. It's just ever so slightly different on how you access the menus, but you'll figure it out after about a good day of like trying to play with it. And you can figure it out while you're doing it. A friend of mine and I were out in the Arizona desert with the GMRS version of this radio. This one, it says dual band, so this is the ham version. The cool thing about this is there is a GMRS version in this exact footprint. There's a ham version in this exact footprint, which probably means there's an unlock code to make one the other, and vice versa. And then there's also a CB version, which was yesterday's video. That's the MB one, and we'll have a link to one of those later. And I have this crazy idea where I want to get one of all three of these, stack them up inside of the same box. And when they're turned off, it's hard to tell which one is which. The only thing that's going to be a dead giveaway is the CB screen. I don't think is black when the radio is off. So you'd have two black radios and one that's not black. But that would get you CB, GMRS, and ham radio UV, and you're looking at $300. for all three radios. And then I'd get a little screw-on antenna because they make a small 42-inch whip for CB with loading coils and stuff in it. So that would be pretty. I actually have one of those sitting here. So let's swing back to the stream, remove this. So this is it's folded up in half, but you can see it's got a little tiny bit of probably a loading coil inside of that to get it onto 11 meters. And then there's the part that you attach to the top to double it in size. And then on the bottom, it's got a SO239 mount. So I bet I could make a pretty good Go box that has an antenna. You know, you could get a dual band 2 meter 70 centimeter antenna that would cover 2 meters 70 centimeters in GMRS, and then you could get that antenna that would cover your CB band. Not supported by Chirp, but does have an unlock code. That kind of stinks. Lee, there is an Anytone version of this radio. I think there's a Radiodity version of this radio. I'm pretty sure. And then there's also the Retevis version of this radio. So that's 3 different names you might be able to look up. Not saying I disagree with you. Matt's got a deal on EcoWorthies. Awesome. LifePo 4s are 20% off. Let's see. What is the next deal? That's the RA25, the RT73. This one's fun. This one is made by a company called Kaidera. And this one has Bluetooth. It has GPS. It actually does a really good job of APRS. It's still, canned messages. I think you might be able to type one in from the microphone, but it's not terribly easy. I have a video on doing APRS reception on this and doing some APRS tracking while I was playing around, seeing what kind of repeaters I could open up. This is a 20 watter, I want to say. But this is a pretty cool little radio. This one is supported by a third-party piece of software called CP Editor, cpeditor.co.uk. And it was written by a ham, so it's a little tiny bit easier to use. But it's got a pretty neat little interface to it. And this is the sister to the GD88 and the DB40. So you can get this in I want to say 7 watt, 20 watt, and 40 watt version. 200,000 DMR contacts and GPS and so on built in. And this one says it's currently unavailable. Maybe it's available in your area and just not mine. Let's take a look at the next one that they have. Yeah, it is buggy, and they do release a lot of firmware updates for it. And it's just one of those things where ham radio manufacturers don't really use their radios. So they don't even notice that they have bugs. Kaidera makes it, they don't sell it to the public as far as I know, so they don't get any feedback. And then Radiodity and Retevis rebrand it and sell it to you. So if you give your feedback to me, and then I give the feedback to Radiodity, and then Radiodity gives the feedback to Kaidera, you can imagine the telephone chain that your signals are going to get lost. But it's fun to play with. This is the RT85. What do we got here? Dual band, $35. Two-pack for $35? Really? That is a smoking deal right there. It doesn't say it doesn't have the Prime tag on it, but 22% off. Normally it's $45.99, $35 for 2 radios, a little bit more than $15 a piece. That's not too bad for some built-in stuff. So what I saw, my friend Dave KB5UTY has a Go box where he had taken a mobile radio and a battery and put it in the center of the Go box, and then he had 6 HTs down the side. So I am the commander of the incident. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to flip open my screen, I'm going to turn on my mobile radio, and I'm going to toss out to my 6 subordinates. Go out in the field, go forth and conquer, solve everybody's problems, help everybody out. Let's form a base of operations here, and you guys fan out. And I think that's a fantastic idea. And all those, you can imagine all of those radios are programmed in with named channels like command station, and then he's got his on 2 channels, so he's got the command station on VFO-A, and then he's got whatever channel on VFO-B, so people can reach the incident commander, and people can talk in the group chat amongst themselves and that kind of thing. So yeah, like pre-programmed, ready to go radios. Make sure you pull them out once a month and fully charge all the batteries. Make sure they still work. Yeah, great idea, Watson Hertz. Buy them to give to new hams. Perfect idea. So let's take a look at what's next. The RT5R. I think I know. I think I know. Yep, the RT5R. Is this one? Let me share the screen out. This is the RT5R, which is their version of the UV5R. So with the original antenna, it's $47.49, but with the special high gain antenna, what do we got? $69.99, not a prime deal. So we'll go back to this one, $47.99. These are Baofeng UV5R clones. So I mean, y'all know what a Baofeng is, but more expensive than the last one that we shared out. And the last one we shared out was probably a better radio. This is the HS4. Oh, this is a 10-meter export radio. My buddy Ziggy's got one of these. And this is something that we were talking about again with the Toads digital interface. These radios are so empty inside. It's a large box. It's bigger than like your Yaesu 891, and it's almost completely hollow inside. But it doesn't have sound out. So if you set this thing, if you do it's already a 10-meter radio. It's a 10-meter export radio, so there's probably a hack you can do to make it 10, 11, 12, and maybe 15. It's going to be higher power. What's the wattage on this thing? Does it say? 40 watt ham radio. So it's a decent amount of power. It's channelized, and then you can probably open it up a little bit so that the channels are, 5-step increments or something along those lines to make it more like a ham radio. But there's a lot of empty room inside that box. So it would be good to do the thing. All right. How many tabs do I have open for this? I have about 10,000 tabs open for this. It's crazy how many tabs I have open for this. Let's get back and take a look at the price on this thing. This is one of the things, 181. This is a super, super deal. Normally it's 226, 20% off, 181.59. This would be a really good deal if, again, I'm going to do that same rant that I did a few minutes ago. If they actually use the radio, could you imagine if you were a technician just getting interested in ham radio and a 40 watt, $180 all band, not all band, 10 meter radio that did all modes. So AM, FM for FM repeaters. It actually had split and repeater tones built in. So you could get into the 10 meter FM repeaters that are out there. And it had data in and out, audio in and out to your computer, USB-C style hookups. This would be a fantastic, get on the air thing for someone who's a technician and has privileges on 10 meters. There's a lot of stuff on 10 meters that's pretty cool. So this one, again, all these links are in the description of the video down below this video. On your way down there, hit that subscribe button. That's what makes it so that you can type the keyword in the chat for the giveaways. I think we should do another giveaway. What do y'all think? This is going to be for an RA79. So RA79 is going to be the keyword because I am feeling extremely creative today. All right, so there's your keyword. Let me find the RA79. Ooh, Dave sent me a tablet in Discord. Thank you, Dave. I'll take a look at that. It's actually much better if you send it to me in Discord. Let's see. Where was my link for the RA79? See what it is we're giving away here. Oh, yeah, cool. You guys are going to like this one. This is the hackable Quanchang radio. There we go. Give me a bigger picture. So this is the one that we're giving away right now. RA79 is the keyword. Type it in the chat just like everybody else is. When we draw the winner, then you'll be able to fill out the form in the description down below that says that you are in fact the winner, and type in that you won the RA79 and you will get this one. But this is the one that's infinitely hackable. I think Quanchang knocked it out of the park when they made a radio that was hackable. Put the ability to load custom firmware on it and put some information inside about it. And Paul is saying, I used one for APRS with USB audio. My friend Doc Brad sent one in that had the extra HF shortwave board installed so you could listen to shortwave radio on it. And I was able to actually hear and decode FT8 signals using this radio, which was pretty cool. So I put it on 20 meters and listened to it. It didn't transmit on HF, but it received on HF. So kind of opens it up to do some other stuff. Is it the UVK5, the UVK56, the UVK58, the UV6, UVK6, UVK68? I don't understand their modeling numbers. I get the UV part. The K probably means K connector, but I don't know what all the rest of the numbers mean. Generation 8. There is a lot of stuff on here. Let's see, how many entries do we have? 56 entries, 112 people watching. That means it is draw time. In case you guys aren't tracking, I try to get at least half as many people as are watching entered, and then I hit the draw. Seems like if you got to make a decision, that's one. David Pickles, congratulations, David Pickles. You are the winner of this. The form is in the description of the video. Please fill that out so we can get this thing over to you in your hot little hands. And it is USB charging. It is. Congrats, David. All right, let's get over to this guy here. There is a link. If you're not a winner, $23.99 is still not a bad price for this guy. Let's see. Which one did we leave off on? We left off on the HS4. One of these days, somebody will make a 10-meter radio that's got USB audio in, out, cat control, programming, has an actual real VFO on it instead of as being channelized. I get why they're making these things. I get the target market, but there's another target market. There's another actual 10-meter market out there. Not buy a 10-meter radio and hack it for a high-powered CB. All right, we have the HA1G. This is the GMRS version of the HA1UV. So $47.99 gets you a GMRS radio. I've got a couple of them. I do find some traffic on GMRS. And then I use GMRS radios every time I back the trailer in. I paid $16 for a K6 to get some airband for when I do POTA. Nice. Yeah, these things are super cheap. So, yeah, I use GMRS radios when I back the trailer in at the RV park. So, kind of like once a week I'm on GMRS. And I do that because there's no way I'm getting my wife no way my wife is getting a ham radio license. So that's kind of the way that works. They have a couple different versions of this one. I've got them linked in the description down below. You've got the one-piece set. You've got it in black. You've got it in green. That's one thing that they've been listening to. Like, maybe we should make these radios a little more Motorola-like. Let's see what the green one looks like. Look at that. That is bright green. Even the USB cable is green. That's cool. I do kind of like having them in different colors than just any color black you want. But there's the green one for you. And then they have the green one with the microphone. And then we've got the RB48. Let's see what the RB48 looks like. Oh, these are excellent. These are actually really good for giving to kids to go play with. And I'll do my usual thing. Market to die off. Yeah. I'll do my usual thing here. This is a good way to get kids interested in ham radio. Once your kids get good at riding their bikes and whatnot, I mean, your kids go outside, right? Or your grandkids or whatever. This is fantastic for grandkids. Give them a set of radios. Get them familiar with using them and working with them. It doesn't take more than 5 minutes for them to get excited. And then when they kind of lose steam of just playing with them and, running around the campsite or whatnot, tell them, get on your bike and go as far as you can go while still being able to communicate with me. And that gives them a little bit of legs, gives them a little bit of freedom, that first taste of freedom that they need. And now you can still be a good dad, good granddad, good grandmother, whatever, and hear them, keep an ear out for them, see what they are. I think you're right. I think Ziggy has that for his kids, and I think I know how he got them. Uncle T.O. sent them down. But just what I did with my kids was that exact same thing. And then I took them out. We built some antennas together, proved that they worked, made some contacts, and then we did some POTA together. So we had a good fun day out at the park. And then after a while, they got tired of, using my call sign and writing my logs and getting me awards, that they wanted their own call signs and their own awards. And then the Youth on the Air camp came out, YOTA, YOTA, Youth on the Air, yotaregion2.org, I think it is, unless they've updated the URL to something easier. So, like they were excited to do that and hang out with kids their own age and play radio. And there was a ton of things that you could do to play radio out there. Let's see what the next thing is. So, you get your kids interested in ham radio by actually doing ham radio with them. This is the GMRS version of that radio we talked about before. And it is more expensive. $95.99 for the GMRS version and $91.99 for the dual band ham radio version. So GMRS is more expensive. You get the one with the antenna for $111. So a little mag mount antenna there. But this is what I was saying. This is the GMRS version. This is the UV version. And they kind of look the same because they kind of are the same. And my buddy Lee in the chat confirmed that. So I still want to get that. We'll probably see the MB1 coming up here as we go through some more of these things. What is this C4? I bet this C4 is like an antenna. Oh, the C4 is Mate Talk C4 talkie with mic, smart voice adjustment. Okay, see, these are GMRS radios. This is a 4-pack of GMRS radios with no controls on the front. Looks like they have K-connector mics. Yeah, so these are another good one to give out. Another emergency go box construction type deal. What is the C2? Ooh, these are pretty cool. Two-way radio. These are GMRS radios also. But look at that. Color screens. Nice keypads. These look like Anytones. Don't they look like Anytones? $129 for a 4-pack. It's not bad. All right, what else do we have? Oh, here it is. Here's the MB1. Yeah, see, there's the CB. The CB is going to look a little different. I bet that screen's not black when you turn it off. I don't remember off the top of my head. And if I wasn't so lazy, I could turn around and get it out of the box that's on the desk behind me that it's sitting in right now. $83.99. I've got one of these for sale, but I think I have to wait till after Prime Day to sell mine. Yeah, because I'm selling mine for $80. No, hold on. Hold on. Nope, I got that backwards. I'm selling mine for $65. So if you want mine, let me know. We'll get it out the door for $65. We'll beat the Prime Day sale. Ha! Take that. Drag solder is a method of soldering. You don't need the paste for it. It's just put solder on the tip and drag it down all the pins all at once. It works pretty good on surface mount type stuff. And it's just kind of a technique that you do. Miss any great deals? You miss 100% of the deals you don't click on. All right, that's the MB1. That was actually a very feature-rich, tiny, affordable CB radio. I thought it was pretty good. The RT97. What is the RT97? I can't keep all these model numbers straight in my head. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. This is the GMRS repeater, and this is actually pretty slick too. Get this and put it in that Go kit I was talking about before, and then you can have 5 or 6 GMRS HTs. You yourself having one that are all pre-programmed with channel names that make sense. So this one actually has everything in it except for power and an antenna. But it's there's my brother Randy. It is a full-fledged repeater. There's a set of filter cans inside. There's a repeater board in there, and then it has a programming cable. I think the programming cable, if I remember right, plugs into the microphone port. I think I actually have one of these with me. Right? And then the RT97S is a new version of this repeater. I think I have the regular one. No, I have this model here with me. Same price as the other one. And then I have the RT97L, which I think can be hacked into a ham band repeater in a box. And these are all waterproof. Leave them outside. They're rugged. It's an actual metal case. Now that I have a lighter truck, I might be able to drive over it. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I can definitely ride over it with my 250-pound motorcycle. What is an H777? Retevis, why do you have so many products? You're putting ICOM and Yaesu to shame. It's like the Walmart model of selling things. There we go. Oh, they come in green too. Green's a Prime Day deal of $24.59, so $25, and then $20 for the black one. So you got to pay $5 more to get them in fashionable colors. We're almost out of Retevis products. Can you believe it? There's literally, Retevis has 40 different products on sale. I think all their walkie-talkies are long range. What bands are these on? 16 preset channels. What bands? I mean, I'd imagine that these are GMRS or FRS. It's a newer model of the C2. I don't think it is. I think that's Amazon getting in the way. That hidden display is actually pretty cool. When it's turned off, you can't see it at all, and then you can see it. Like right here in this picture, you can see that you can't see it. Oh, they're making fun of Baofeng. Look at that UV5R with the shattered display. I've never harmed a Baofeng in my life. License free, so these are got to be FRS radios. Or MERS. MERS? Any of you guys have MERS radios? Oh, there it is, right at the top. Missed it. Any of you guys have MERS radios? The RT19. What is an RT19? Oh, there we go. More FRS radios. And these are great for like doing stuff around the house or giving to the kids to go play. Like, get out of my hair. Go do something. Take the radio with you. The MR600. So many products. This is the last Retevis product. Oh, it's an antenna. GMRS antenna. Okay. All right, all right. Let's see. I think I might have another giveaway. Actually, I know I have another giveaway. I just got to figure out what it is. All right. Red Audio has a giveaway. And it is a 12-volt, 20-amp-hour lithium iron phosphate battery. I'm leaving a link in the description here for you. Not in the description. It already is in the description. I'm leaving a link in the chat for you. And then let's pull that page up so we can see what this battery looks like. And I have a couple of these batteries. I've used a couple of these batteries. I know a couple of my friends have used some of these batteries. They work out really well. These smaller size batteries are great for go boxes or just kind of sticking somewhere in the back of your car and forgetting about it. Like Aiden said, he's got a lead acid battery in the back of his car. This battery probably has the same capacity at about half the size and a quarter of the weight. And they are also doing a 55% off sale. And if you use the code TO, you get an additional 6% off. Let me drop those links for you. They're also in the description. Paul's saying EcoWorthy has some deals. It's the same link. Did I like miss a space or something? Yeah. The word extra shows up on the end of the link that I put in. Sorry about that, guys. Let me correct that for you. Computer's trying to be extra helpful. This is the proper link for the giveaway. I see what happened. Thanks, Sean. Good eye. Good catch. All right, that is done. So what do we got to do for a giveaway for this one? Let's put a keyword in the chat. We're going to make the keyword red audio, which is how they tell me that you're supposed to pronounce that. It's not redodo. And I think I've said it to them. I think that they kind of do it a little bit. So red is in the color red, but then it's either redodo is what you think it is when you first look at it as just a word. And then when you see where the red is in one color and the next three letters are in a different color, you think it's red odo. But it's actually red audio. Red audio. Hey Jim. Red audio. Let's look at the comments. We only got 4 of you entered. Come on, people. You don't want a battery? You don't want a free battery? If you are the winner of this battery, again, there is a link in the description to fill out the form so I can get all the contact information that I need from you to know where to ship this thing to. And Red Audio has some gifts if you spend a certain amount of money with them. So I'm putting that in the chat as well. And it's also, I think it's in the description as well. Oh, can't have that. The alarm is going off. 1 second. That's fine. That can wait. It wasn't important. It was only an alarm. Why would I set an alarm for something that was important? So what you do is if you spend over $699, they'll give you a t-shirt or a picnic blanket. If you spend $1,000, you get an additional 12 amp hour battery. If you spend $1,300 or more, you get a 10 amp charger to help charge those batteries up fast. So a 12 amp hour battery would charge in an hour and 20 minutes. And if you spend $2,000 or more, you get a 1,000-watt inverter. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else on here. So Lead Time has also given me some stuff to share with y'all. We got 75 entries, 121 people watching. People want batteries more than they want radios. I'm going to have to change my ham radio channel over to a battery channel exclusively. No more ham radio content for me. You guys have spoken. I'm going to hit that draw button. Boom. Let's see who's going to win it. Who's going to win it? Who's going to be the big winner? Nasser Nassab. Nasser Nassab. Congratulations. There is the form in the description down below for you. And we'll get it out to you. There are some shipping restrictions on batteries. So I'm going to say most of this stuff is probably US only. You know, I'm in the US and these companies are selling to the US. So, but there's even restrictions inside of the US when it comes to shipping batteries. Like you can't ship these things easily to Australia, to Alaska. You can't ship them easily to Australia either, to Alaska or Hawaii. So there is that. Let's get rid of, where are we? All right, that's fine. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Let me check out this lead time thing, see what's going on with lead time. There we go. Lead Time has Prime sales up to 55% off. So all the battery companies are somewhere above 50% off for their different deals. Early access, I missed it. Prime Day, and it's a week. It's kind of how Prime is. Prime Day's last call is like the, next week. Let's just do a 3-week sale. Sure. Same great prices as on Amazon with more deals and perks only on leadtime.com. How do I get the 8% discount? How do I get the extra points? What are the daily flash deals? So there's a bunch of cool stuff going on in there. Let me check my notes. So that was the activity page that I'm sharing you, the low price zone. These links are in the descriptions also for you. Description, singular. I actually want to get one of these 3,500 watt solar inverter charger deals. These are all in one units. So it's a charger and an inverter, and 3,500 watt inverter at that. And so Will has his hand truck that he's got all this stuff mounted to, big battery, and then that one controller box. So it's like a two-part deal, and you can put the solar panels on the cart as well. So here we go. 12 volt, 100 amp hour group 24, which is kind of a mini size. Normally 369 down to 250. 50 amp hour battery, 160. And then enter your email for the 8% discount. Do I have a code for you? Let me check. 48-hour flash deals. All right. Those are the deals that I have for you. Let's take a look at the eco-worthy stuff. Don't have any links in the description on these, but a couple of you guys in the chat have mentioned them. Matt, thank you for bringing this up. $7.99 for a server rack battery. How big is this? 48 volts, 100 amp hours. And so that's not the same as 12 volts, 100 amp hours. So if you convert this with a buck converter down to 48 volts or a DC to DC type device or something along those lines, you're going to get probably 400 amp hours out of it without doing all the math, because I'd have to take the kilowatt hours and convert that into watts, and then yeah, got to do some math. I went to public school. I don't do math on stream. But these are a nice compact size, and they've got a bunch of protections built in, a nice metal case. They're going to be heavier, but there's also a ton of capacity in that box. Huge amount of capacity in that box. And actually, what I want to know, oops, wrong way. What I want to know is what the BMS allows for continuous delivery. 100 amp BMS that provides multiple layers of protection, 125 amp air switch. Yeah, so that's 48 volts, 100 amps. So that's probably 400 amps at 12 volts. All right, let's check to see what other eco-worthy deals there are. That's 12 volt, 280 amp hour 2-pack. So what was that, 560 amp hour battery, $700 versus and these are 12 volt batteries. Home power station, 10,240 watt hours. Nice. Scrolling through the deals here. Let me get y'all a link to this page. There's the link. So what is your favorite size of battery? So I like the 100 amp hour batteries because there's a lot of power density in them, but now you're starting to see 200 and some, 300 and some amp hour batteries almost in that exact same form factor. And then I like the 6 amp hour 4-celled units, like what Dennis has, because I think this is actually a really good form factor for a battery. Is something along this size. This fits into a go bag really easily, and the clear case is nice. But that's 4 battery cells. Dennis lists this as a 5.5 amp hour battery. You can kind of see the specs there a little bit, but it's going to put out 6 amp hours for you, at least for the first 5,000 usage cycles. Yeah, there's some cool stuff there. So let's get into that tablet conversation. Let me bring up this one that Dave Frequency Frontiers shared with me. Dave, when did your last TikTok video go out? I'm not a TikTok watcher. I got too much stuff to do. So this is the one that Dave sent out. Let's come over here to this. Let's do this. I got to get the link for y'all. It's 132. Dave's trying to spend more money. right, we got the link there. Let's get it on the screen here. This is a Samsung Tab A9. So the A series is weird. So we needed Android 15. I'm sure since it's Samsung, it has it. I did this thing where he says he posts at 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. most days. Okay, excellent. I did this thing where Dave, shoot me a link to your TikTok channel, and then I shoot it to me on Discord, and then I'll put it in the chat over here for everybody to get a link to it. I had an idea that, if I had the current Samsung Galaxy model is the S25. If I had a, what's it called? An S7 as an example, which I have. Oddly enough, it's sitting here. This is my S7, and it still works. But I was like, it's time for a new phone. And the S7 is 10 years old as a number. I don't know how old it actually is, but let's just, just for conversation's sake, say 10 years old. And I, waited 10 years. I went to the store and I bought the cheapest Samsung phone that they make today. And it was like I want to say it was an A10 or something like that. Maybe it was an A15. That 10-year newer, cheapest phone model should be faster than my 10-year-old phone just because of the pace of technology passing by. But they did something. They did something to make it... I have heard about fake specs. Yeah, thank you, Joe. They did something to make it slower than a 10-year-old phone. And that math don't math up to me. Let's take a look at this A9. And so that's why I'm real skittish. That's why I was hoping to crowdsource some information on this. It's the 2024 model. A tablet, you're going to want to watch some YouTube videos on it. Maybe some Netflix and chill, I don't know. But I don't want to get one that's really slow, I don't need to get it on a cellular network. That's going to change the price a little bit. It was $132. I clicked on T-Mobile and it says I'm clicking on the wrong screen. That's why y'all can't see what I'm doing. T-Mobile. So it's $132.99 for that, and then it doesn't give me a price. So let's see all buying options. $276. Whoa, no. See, I don't need cellular that bad. I'll just hotspot my cell phone, and that'll be one less bill to pay. Oh, with a cover. That's probably one of those interesting folding stand type cover deals. Oh, whoa, that cover adds a lot of money. Tablet only, $132, Prime Day deal. So is this going to be fast enough to do the thing? The A8 handles it, so the A9 should definitely handle it, and it's the A9 Plus. Thank you, Ron. Dave is still frantically looking for the link to his TikTok channel to share with me. Hi, Andy. Let's see. For emergencies, don't forget about your old desktop UPSs. Yep. Yeah, you could definitely open those up. I don't know. Usually they have the smaller sealed lead acid batteries in them, but I don't know if the modern ones have switched over to lithium iron phosphate batteries. But they're a good small size, usually 5 amp hour, 6 amp hour sealed lead acid batteries, which means 2.5 amp hour runtime for us. And if you could get a tablet that had a decent sized battery in it, what size does they say this one is? And it had the ability to power out, then you could power your QRP radio with it. That would be pretty cool. There it is. Thank you, Dave. Now I got to type Frequency Frontiers. Typing that link into the chat for y'all. So it's kind of interesting because there are a ton of them out there. Let's look for tablets. Let's do Android 15 tablet. And then when we get in there, it's got to be at least 10 inches or bigger. And then let's sort by price low to high. Unfortunately, oh, usually that gets you like accessories. You know, like the cable for your Android is $7 is the cheapest thing there. But this is crazy. That's 7 inch. That doesn't fit the criteria, Amazon. Nice try. $35 for a 7 inch tablet. 1024 by 600 screen. That's going to be too small. Android 15 tablet. 6 gig plus 32 gig. What kind of storage space do you need? 10.1 inch, $42.99. I mean, the ham radio apps don't need a whole lot of computing power, but I would like it to do just a tiny bit more, like be somewhat functional. They don't have a red model. They only have it in pastel colors. What's up with that? Let's see. Yeah, I can pick the Android as a filter for my Android search. I have seen that 10-inch tablet, but the last time I looked at the ONN tablet from Walmart, it was $99. So $49 isn't bad, and I have heard good reviews on that, but I haven't personally used one. Where are we with Prime? Why am I not getting any Prime? Samsung 14-inch Chromebook. That would do all the ham radio stuff too, and you'd get a keyboard and a touchpad with it. What was the price tag on that one? 37% off is what the price tag is. $189. Yes, that's above the price tag. Be neat to jailbreak those and get them on Linux. There should be just like a search box for Prime deals only. Checking the ribbon up here. See if I can see tablets. Clear filters. I think this is the same list. Electronics. Can we narrow it down? Tablets. There we go. I've heard good things about the Fire tablets. I've heard good things about getting refurbished Fire tablets. 50% off Prime Day deal. $70 isn't bad. Yeah, I'm not logged in, but they still show you the deals when you're logged in. It's just the way the search works. I wanted to search the deals specifically, not search all of Amazon, because we were getting non-Prime Day deals. And one would hope that you're going to get a better price on a Prime Day deal than you would on a regular deal, but you never know. Tab S6 Lite, what size is that? 10.4? 189. Like this one here says octa-core. And this is from an unknown brand to me, Ureo. I'm sure they're all made in the same factory. But $79.98. There we go. Fire Max 11. $270. That's out of my price range. I do like the idea of the keyboard. I hate typing on the autocorrect keyboard. My Samsung phone and tablet don't radio because they don't have a DAC. I just bought a computer and portable monitor, power everything by battery, and can even use Win for Yaesu portable. Nice. Dragon brand tablet. 1 kilowatt power station. I've had really good luck with the All Powers gear. I've used a Afery, Afiery model of power station. Power stations are pretty cool because they solve a whole bunch of problems. They've got solar charge controllers built in. They've got the inverter built in. They've got some DC output ports. There was one that I did recently. Let me see if I can get a link for it, where it had high output DC. Usually on the DC ports, you can only get about 10 amps out of them, which is good for like a Xiegu G90. But this one had a 25 amp output port on the back of it, and it was meant to jumpstart a car, but they didn't know I plugged it into a radio. Let's see. It was the UD power. Let's see if that's on Prime Deal for y'all. Yeah, $151, but this one is 800 watts, not 1 kilowatt. Let's see if they have one. Because the 1 kilowatt is nice if you're going to be using it for like making coffee or something. It's got a lot of power stored in it. But if you want to use it to power a 100-watt radio, it's not in there. There's the 1200. So there's your kilowatt. 1190, 1800-watt surge. But if you're going to use it to power a radio station, then you need high power output on DC. And this one here is probably only 10 amps out on the front panel, is what it looks like. And it doesn't say it's it does say it's a Prime Deal. There it is. There's 4 styles to choose from, so you can get it with a couple of solar panels, or you can get it by itself. $398, so it's $100 off, 20% off on this one. Let me get y'all a link for this. Oops. And then Watson Hertz is asking about the one with the jump starter in. That was the C400. I got a link for that one there for you too. All right. Any last minute words, y'all? We've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes now, and I need to take a break and get back on to other things. But there's a lot of deals out there. They are all linked in the description for you. We did a bunch of giveaways. If y'all have won something, make sure you fill out the form in the description. And I'll be able to get those mailed out to you as soon as I hear back from you. Tonight there is another live stream on Retevis channel that I am going to be on with them. They're going to be doing some more giveaways. Let me see if I can find a link for that. That's the old live stream. Where's the new one? It's funny, there's not enough subscribers on their channel, so it doesn't show up in the list. Go to my page. I think it's on my community tab. I think this is the link. Yeah, 6 hours from now. Wow, that's not very far away. Typing the link in the chat for y'all. I'm trying, Geek. I'm trying. We just got here. Just got to the end of the stream. I just wanted to get you all over to the Retevis live stream later tonight. Again, that's about 6 hours from now. They're going to be doing some giveaways on that. I'm going to talk a little bit about preparedness and hurricane stuff like that and what hams can do to help out. And then another gentleman is going to help out. Eric, KPARC, is going to be there as well, giving a little bit. So, oh, nice. Get one, get one. USB tester. Let's see if we can do a last minute deal on that. Yeah, it is. Let's get this shown out to y'all. This is the older version of the tester, and it has a bunch of different USB ports on it, so you can test out all different kinds of flavors of USB ports. Get the link in the chat for you. Paul, now you're coming in with more deals. Let's see about TinySA stuff. There's only a couple of brands that do, what do they call it? Official TinySAs. This is the ZS406 model. There's also a ZS407 model. And this one, the reason why I like these models, the Ultra or the 406 or the 407, is because you can test the entire 2-meter spectrum for harmonics. And by entire 2-meter spectrum, I mean all of the harmonics all in one test. With the original TinySA that came out, you could only grab that first one. This is 151, and it looks like it has an attenuator. 50 dB attenuator. Wow, that's big. 50 watts CW. Nice. Yeah, that's why it's so big. It's got to dissipate a lot of heat to get all that signal out before it goes in and blows up the front end on your deal. Let's get a link for y'all for this one. Stick it in the chat. Do you think the Retevis repeater could be reprogrammed down to ham frequencies and the cavities retuned for use as a temporary emergency ham repeater, not a full-time repeater? The short answer to that is no. And the reason why is because the cavities for 2 meters are huge. I mean, they're, 1.5 feet tall, and there's more than one of them. So they don't have the space to put them inside of that can. What you can do is you can go to your local ham fest and you can find a set of used repeater cans for 2 meters. And you're going to recognize them because they're, about 6 tubes, about this wide and about, 1.5 feet tall. So you can't miss them. And verify they're tuned. You can use a nano VNA to get them to the proper frequency tuning that you want. And they're super lightweight. I mean, it's basically a great big empty can. It's a filter cavity. It's literally a hollow can. And then there's some elements inside that you move up and down to make that frequency filter that you're looking for. Open up the repeater from Retevis, remove the filter that's in it, just put a barrel connector in there to connect the two together, the two coax connectors together, and then put your filter on the coax on the outside, and then you'll be able to make it work. But it's because of the differences in size. A set of 70 centimeter cans is literally this size, like the size of a thick tablet, and a set of 2 meter cans is 1.5 feet tall. So there's just not enough room to put it in there. You might be able to make something highly specific, highly dedicated, but probably not as good as a set of filter cavities. I mean, hams would have done them. So. "70 centimeters. Yeah, sorry. Okay. I don't know why I thought you meant 2 meters. Down to ham frequencies. Maybe that's why I thought you meant 2 meters. Yes. So you can take the filter that's in there that's for GMRS and tune it over fairly easily. But if not, you can also get those filters on Amazon. Let's see if I can find it. I have one in my cart because I'm trying to do it. I think that's the name of it. No, that's not the name of it. Amazon does not want to show it to me. Yeah, I type in 70 centimeter cavity and I get toothpaste. Yeah, they're not happy showing me that. Message me on the Discord. I will dig it out for you. We will take it from there. Oh, if you already have the cavities, for sure, but they do have them in there. Well, folks, thank you all for joining, and hopefully you click on some of those deals and save yourself some money on some cool ham radio gear. See you later tonight in about 6 hours on another live stream. Have a good one, y'all. I almost clicked the Leave Studio button instead of the End Stream button. Whoops.